Joining me now is the National Police spokesperson, Mikenzie Smith. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me this evening.
I appreciate your time. I want to talk to you a little bit about the truancy rate and the connection to crime rates. Do you believe that there is a correlation there?
Absolutely. I was a juvenile detective for years. Busy kids don't have time to commit crime. So when you have kids that are in school or in the summer, like the mayor talked about, if they're in some sort of program where they're busy, then they are less likely to be out on the streets committing crime.
Do you think that there should be a closer connection or working relationship with jurisdictions that are seeing more students who are truant to try and get them to get back into school? What can they do to keep them in the classroom so they don't have time to go out and potentially commit crimes?
Well, one of the things that nobody talked about in that package you just played was parents. You know, this ultimately falls on the parents, the grandparents, the guardians of these children. So we've got to have parental involvement as well as government involvement. I like what the mayor did with the curfew last year. However, we've got to make sure if we're going to install a curfew that it's met with punishment when it's not followed. And that's one of the problems that you have in not just Baltimore and the surrounding area, but in the entire state of Maryland. Are kids who break the law being appropriately punished?
The swift and certain consequences, that phrase we often hear from law enforcement saying is a pivotal part in ensuring that there is accountability for young offenders. As we look toward the summer without school, what can jurisdictions, elected leaders, communities do to ensure that these kids aren't going out there and committing crimes if they don't have school or classrooms to be in?
Well, what they can do is make sure that they have programs, whether it's job programs or volunteer programs for those kids, and kids who are either too young to work or if there's not jobs available. Adults in the community, including police officers, need to make time to volunteer for programs like Big Brothers Big Sisters or Through Your Church or whatever. And everyone in the community who's worried about being a crime victim needs to make sure that they are prepared, but they also need to make sure that they volunteer for those programs. I can't stress enough that busy kids are less likely to commit low-level crime.
In the past, we've seen curfews implemented after something happens. As we get closer to summer, should elected leaders look at the idea of implementing a curfew before a tragic event?
Absolutely. Elected leaders need to look at their communities, neighborhood by neighborhood, and try and determine, would a curfew help the situation? And people, voters need to put pressure on their legislators, statewide as well as local, to put measures in place to protect the community from juvenile criminals. We've got to make sure that we're paying attention not just to the potential juvenile offenders, but to the potential crime victims as well.
All right, Mikenzie Smith, I appreciate your time and your insight. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm Mikenzie Frost. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Check out Fox Baltimore on all of our social media pages for more videos just like this.